Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday, episode number 76, Friday the 14th, 2017. Davey Nelson sitting alongside David Hero and David.
Yeah.
How the heck are you here on a Friday?
Fantastic.
Have you any fish occurring for you? As in
It's Good
fried
Friday.
cod, halibut?
It's Good Friday.
Walleye? It is Good Friday. Oh, you in fish now, right?
That's fish.
Well, doesn't Lent start?
I gave up my New Year's resolution for Lent.
What was your New Year's resolution, David Hero?
Well, you don't talk. That's between God and myself. I'm not going to share that with you.
I think your long-distance phone call was a little more southern than to the north for your New Year's resolution.
Well, I'm just making reservations.
And I'm sure they told you that you'll have to call back later to see if something opens up, right?
Let's be honest. We're going there for the company, not the weather.
Gosh.
Right?
And where might it be a little more entertaining?
Here's my thing on this. Since you started it.
I wish I hadn't.
But think about it. Do you honestly think if we go to hell that the devil is going to punish us? No, he's going to open us with open arms because we're like him.
I don't believe that's the way it's written.
Well, but it's because they're trying to scare us. The devil will be like, hey, you guys frickin' party. Come on.
So you know where you're going, so you're just working on the upgrade to a suite.
Yeah. And guess who gets the sweets? This guy. The sweet and sexy.
Okay. I thought you just said I was going to hell.
Well, you are.
Did you tell me to go to hell?
No, you'll be with me.
It's another Seinfeld episode, and I wish you watched it, because remember when Elaine was the Jesus fish?
Think about it.
Putty. And
would you rather be up
I'm not going
there
to
where
hell.
everyone's playing with harps? Or would you rather be
I like classical music.
with the strip clubs and everything else?
Do you tell me they never use any music with harps in it in a strip club?
Well, Guns N'
You
Roses,
just searched
maybe.
your memory banks.
I did.
You just searched your memory banks in case you had heard one at some point on your quests. It is Feedback Friday, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to apologize if any of you were unnecessarily offended by David Hero's opening comments here in the
what is there to
opening
be
segment.
offended about?
I said unnecessarily, thus meaning there is nothing to be offended
I
about.
said nothing that was offensive.
To you.
You don't have to go to hell if you don't want to.
I want to thank you for joining us here on Fight TV, F-I-T-E, Fight, YouTube, and also, of course, here on the podcast of Feedback Friday. And let's get right down to it. Our big story this week is more on the shakeup from Raw this past Monday night and SmackDown this past Tuesday night. Now, last night on Primetime, we talked to you about some of the big names that had moved between brands, but we didn't have time to get to all of them due to the amount of TV time that we had available to us. So let's continue discussing those who moved David Hero. And one name we didn't get to from the SmackDown to Raw end of things was Kurt Hawkins, who is now a member of the Raw brand. I think they keep trying to make a big deal out of Hawkins, and he's a tremendous athlete, tremendous wrestler, but for whatever reason, it's just not. It's not catching on.
Beat though.
He does.
I mean, he has not had a match longer than 2.5 minutes since Blizzard Brawl.
But they're trying, right?
Yeah,
but why isn't he taking, if you will?
I don't know. I really don't.
What would you do? What would you do to get Kurt Hawkins over in the next 2 months?
I'd put him in a tag team, or in a six-man.
With? On a long-term basis or on a...
I'd put Hawkins with Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder.
Interesting. Mojo's on a roll, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
And he has something special I didn't know he had, to be honest with you. He's just very, very, very good. Better than I thought he would be. And it all came to more light, I think, at WrestleMania. And then this past Tuesday when his friend Robert Gronkowski was back.
Gronkowski.
Gronkowski, that's what I said. I said Gronkowski.
Okay, don't get hot.
I don't have to say Gronkowski. I said Gronkowski.
Okay. Carry on.
So you'd put him in a tag team, but then what? What would you do with said tag team?
Have them work. Well, New Day is gone, but I think that the three of them could be an interesting trio.
Okay.
I really do.
But what would you do? What would be the end game of that? Would you split that team up eventually? Would you
No.
make one star stand out? Would you
be-
keep them as a team longer term?
Just do what they did with New Day. But let them be like the Dukes of Hazzard kids. Good old boys.
Who would be Bo? Who would be Luke? And who would be Uncle Jesse?
It doesn't make a difference.
I think it does.
Well, okay, you could have Hawkins be Uncle Jesse. Bo can be Zack Ryder, and Luke can be Mojo.
No Roscoe? No Enos? No Boss Hog? No Daisy?
Oh, you could have a Daisy. Who would you have as Daisy? One of the NXT girls. Bring up one of them.
Carmella? Pull her away from
No.
Ellsworth? Anyways, Kurt Hawkins, now a member of the Raw brand.
But can you imagine the Dukes against New Day?
What's so great about that beyond the physicality in the matchup?
I just think it could be an interesting dynamic in today's society.
Actually, you'd be hearkening back to the society of yesterday, not necessarily today's society.
They did the Wyatts against New Day. What's the difference with that?
They had a match in a field with a lot of pickup trucks and such, yes.
Yeah, and wife beaters and jeans.
The shirts they were wearing are sometimes referred to as wife beaters, yes.
Well, what else are they referred to as?
None of the videos we've seen of anybody in the New Day has them beating their wife.
I didn't say they did. Are you implying that because of racial tendencies?
Oh, no. But you said wife beaters, not they were wearing or in there. You said wife beaters, which could be interpreted for those listening in audio form that you meant that they beat their wives.
As opposed to TV form? What was the difference?
Well, people can see your facial expressions and wonder even more what you mean.
Oh. I didn't call anybody wife beater.
Next to Raw from SmackDown was Apollo Crews. Now, David Hero, in the past, you've been incredibly high on Crews.
I blame him. He's terrible.
Terrible.
He didn't make any pay-per-views.
So what now do you do with Crews on Raw? Will he be as unsuccessful as he was on SmackDown?
He'll be okay over there.
Okay. Now, here's one thing to think about with all these moves, because there's been some ridicule for some of them saying, why bother? And to a degree, the first two we've talked about, you can say, some people may have said that about them. But each of these moves between brands was a deliberate act. They didn't have to move anybody.
No.
But they did choose to move a lot of these people. And what do you think is some of the logic, the thinking behind that, David Hero? Because some of these names you would say are relatively unimportant. However, WWE saw it differently by making the action of moving them.
Because you have to build your mid-card. And they obviously wasn't working on SmackDown because SmackDown built up a lot of their mid-card to top guys. And let's face it, they need fodder or feeders for the Strowmans and the Brock Lesnars.
But do you think there's intent as well to make these stars bigger? Because it is in WWE's best
definitely
interest.
Apollo Crews, because that's a Triple H and Vince show on Raw. And Triple H is big on them. I think I'm going to skip ahead and go to Kalisto.
Sure.
Cruiserweights are on Raw.
Well, you switched him and Sin Cara, basically. Because Sin Cara went to SmackDown.
Yeah, but Sin Cara...
You line them up together in front of me right now, I wouldn't be able to tell you who's who.
Well, Sin Cara has the tattoos. Kalisto is way better than Sin Cara.
Okay. Which Sin Cara?
The one they got now. The other one's back in Mexico, so somebody else. Yeah, I mean, this here is the mid-card stuff.
Okay. Heath Slater and Rhino also moving over from SmackDown to Raw. Also, Mickie James moving over from SmackDown to Raw, joining Alexa Bliss. And a little commentary shakeup as well as not Randy, but David Otunga makes a move from SmackDown to Raw, and Byron Saxton going from Raw to SmackDown. Now, if there was a cohesive unit of commentary between the two shows, I thought it was Raw. They worked well together, the three of them.
I'm not a fan
SmackDown's
of Otunga.
been unique, and as we talked about on the extra podcast, Primetime Extra podcast last night, there's some reasons there. You know, we had sort of speculated as to why Todd Phillips had been added a couple of months ago as a fourth guy. Well,
He's still
WWE
there.
was seeing the future, I think, in the departure of Mauro Ranallo. And now you've got Otunga, who didn't necessarily play much of a role as far as the interaction between the other broadcasters on SmackDown, now moving over to Raw, which puts him in a high-pressure position.
How does he plan on getting anything in with Corey Graves and Michael Cole?
Well, I think what's great is Graves is so great that he, much like his interaction with Saxton, can make David Otunga a bit more relevant in the commentary booth than he was on SmackDown.
We'll see. It'll be a challenge.
That it will be, folks. Moving over, though, to SmackDown were several other names in addition to those we talked about on Primetime yesterday as well. Firstly, Tamina Snuka making her return after, what, some 2 years, I believe it was, of absence, at least a year.
You know she's a mother of 2 or 3?
Is she really?
Yeah. Who knew?
Congratulations
You think
to
she was
her.
in TNA?
She is now back on SmackDown. Jinder Mahal also making the switch, as we alluded to a bit on Primetime yesterday. And
Well,
also...
they had to keep him away from Finn Balor.
Huh?
They had to keep Jinder away from Finn Balor.
And Primo and Epico Colon also moving over to SmackDown. Yesterday on Primetime, we said all those big-name moves that moved, they were done on their brands.
Yes.
Not the same for the names we just went over, but I think there is a lot of promise and potential because, as I was saying earlier, it's in WWE's best interest to build as many stars as they can, right? So if they can find another star or two to build from these names that we've talked about here on Feedback Friday, they will be in a better place
We
overall.
didn't talk about the
as a
Drifter
company.
being on Raw.
We did not.
Yeah.
He was on SmackDown. No, he was on Raw, drifting around.
You think he goes back and forth
Here's
between
what I
both shows?
hoped. That's what I hoped. I hoped we'd see him drifting around, and maybe we did. I just didn't notice it on SmackDown as well. And hell, even have him drift around on NXT. So it's sort of a cross-promotional thing, I guess, with this guy. But that was interesting. He looks Wyatt-ish, though.
Wyatt-ish?
Wyatt-ish.
Yeah. How about that 10 kid?
Ty Dillinger?
Yeah.
He's a perfect 10.
Are you a fan of his?
I like him, yes.
You,
I consider myself a fan of Ty Dillinger. You don't? Oh. What's he billed as, his weight?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I'm just trying to, I'm still trying to follow it. Trying to get it.
What don't you get? Maybe I can help you understand.
The fans love him. And is it because they can count to 10? Is that what it really is? They like to
think
chant
you're
10?
insulting the intelligence of our fans.
No, I'm
by
not.
saying that.
If I wanted to insult him, I would have said something else.
It's not just because they can count to 10. I think he has a solid, quote-unquote, gimmick. He's a perfect 10. He's like Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Perfect. He's, he's an exemplary performer in his own mind, and he goes out and he delivers. Wow. All right. Well, there's no turning you on that, obviously. Folks, thank you. Actually, we don't thank you yet because we haven't talked about your comments, but thank you for listening to us talk about this shakeup. Overall, in summary, if you will, the shakeup, who benefited most? Was it Raw or SmackDown or neither or both, David Hero?
I think Raw benefited because it got 3 legit top guys.
In Miz, Ambrose, and Bray Wyatt?
Yes.
Okay.
SmackDown got Owens legit top. New Day is a top tag team, but they're damaged. And Charlotte is the top woman in the company.
It's really great to hear because from last year's draft to now, Charlotte was not even a number 2 in your opinion. Now she's in top 3, which makes her 1, 2, or 3.
No, I never said she was still in the top 2 or 3. I'm just saying she's the top woman on the show.
You said that 3 major stars, 3 top draws, if you will, went to each brand.
But they weren't drafted, they were traded. Big difference.
All right, folks, we're going to take a time out. When we come back, it's time for your comments right here on Feedback Friday.
The Soder family thought they'd take a road trip this summer. A little fun, a little sun. What could possibly go wrong? Even under the best driving conditions, semi-trucks can still be dangerous. The results of being in a wreck with 40 tons of steel and speed can be catastrophic. And it only gets worse when you don't have Gruber Law Offices on your side. If you or a loved one has been injured by a semi-truck, call Gruber Law Offices now. One call, that's all.
And welcome back, fans, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. What's wrong? What does that look for? What's that expression for?
I just read some of these. I should stop doing that before.
No, maybe you should do that before so your answers can be a little less reactionary and a bit more articulate.
I'm not articulate?
At times. In your reactions, because they're sometimes riddled with emotion.
Well, that's what you want, is emotion.
No, I'd rather have SoCal Val sitting here each week. You know, if she didn't live across the pond, you would be replaced.
Well, lucky for everyone else, she doesn't live doesn't live over here.
Let's get to your comments, folks, what Feedback Friday is built on, and these are comments that we have selected from your comments on our episodes of last week. So first, let's get to a comment from David Stronach, who says that I quote, "I thought it was very disrespectful the way the crowd booed Roman Reigns on the Raw after Mania," referencing last week's Raw. Not even talking about the "you deserve it" chants from this past Monday's Raw. I think personally that Roman Reigns has the specialties needed, sorry about that, to be a great superstar as well as face of the company. Say what you will about Roman, but he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, and that makes him the new face of the WWE. I think we should all beware of the Roman Empire.
I agree. This isn't something like how Fandango beat Chris Jericho and then floundered after that. Roman Reigns is a top guy.
That he is.
He is. He's a top guy. He has beat Triple H. He has beat Seth Rollins. He has beat everyone they've put in front of him except for Brock Lesnar. And he now beat the Phenom at WrestleMania.
One of 2 men to do so.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar being the other one. So quite frankly, to be in a category that is only that is only filled with one other guy, and that other guy is Brock Lesnar, I'd want to be there.
I mean, let's face it. Do you honestly think Dean Ambrose could beat Taker? You think Seth Rollins could beat Taker?
Did you think Roman Reigns could beat Taker?
Yes.
Before the matchup?
Well, he was already damaged. He's already had the one loss.
Correct.
Okay. Think Kevin Owens could beat Undertaker?
Do you know it's since been found that, it's since been revealed that the reason the streak ended at WrestleMania 30, partial reason, was that was believed to be The Undertaker's last WrestleMania. Did not think they would get another 3 years out of him or 3 WrestleManias out of him, yet they did, and this now actually his last WrestleMania. Even though, as I said last week on Primetime, they're still not explicitly stating it, because even in Michael Cole's interview with Roman Reigns, he said, you heard the rumors, the speculation that The Undertaker's career is over. I don't know why they're dancing around this. What else do they have up their sleeve?
Because obviously Taker hasn't decided if he's done or not.
Given the results at WrestleMania, JR calling the last match, him
No,
leaving his stuff in the
JR
ring.
called that match because he needed a call to tell the story.
Okay. But regardless of all that, I mean, you sat here adamantly last week that it was his last match.
Yeah, I believe it is. Remember when Brett Favre was going to retire, not retire, retire, not
The guy
retire?
from the New York Jets?
Yes. Same thing.
All right, fans. Well, thank you for that comment, David Stronach. Let's go to the next comment, which comes to us from a user by the name of
Suhail. I'm not going to pronounce the last name.
Al Rama, who says, and I quote, oh. Do you want to read that first line, David Hero? Cal picks the best comments sometimes.
You know what?
I can't, it's blurry on my printer broken
yeah,
on this.
Mine too.
Starts with I.
I can't read it.
It goes like this. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask the best broadcaster on TV today, Damian Nelson, about a point he referred to as to The Undertaker's status with WWE. Which
Suhail
reminds
must not watch much TV.
Reminds me big time of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, when Stone Cold first disappeared from WWE programming, they never mentioned that he just retired or something like that. Even on their website, they were putting him in a current roster gimmick, if you will. So what do you think, guys? Is the picture clear? And that question reference The Undertaker. Now, we just sort of talked about it a little bit.
No. He says I'm a Bill DeMott lookalike.
I wasn't.
You know
even
why?
gonna say
Because
that.
I'm freaking humorous.
That was horrible.
Better what you would have came up with.
We just talked about it a little bit without even getting forward to this comment. Thank you for those comments, by the way. You know, I don't think it's as clear as I think they're reserving the big announcement, retirement, Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
So I think they're being vague right now because they can announce that he's done now, and then you know that. And then it doesn't make the done announcement.
Or maybe
closer
they're waiting to
next
get
year's
all their
Mania.
DVDs and other stuff put together first. When they announce his retirement, they can have the DVD.
Well, and they're selling a Thank You Taker t-shirt that they just released on WWEshop.com as well. So again, the writing's on the wall, but the paper isn't signed, if you will, as it pertains to The Undertaker being done. But we'll just leave it at that. Next comment, folks, comes to us from a regular commenter that by the name of Jay True, who says, reference the Raw after Mania. While Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman were dropping their promo, the fans started chanting, "We want Finn." Does WWE really want to see Finn Balor get his head ripped off? Or does the demon Finn Balor actually have a chance? You know, with the demon having supernatural powers and all. Interesting point there by Jay True, David Hero.
Nothing scares Brock Lesnar. I don't care how much face paint Finn Balor had. First of all,
Andre the Giant was afraid of snakes. Something
that's
scares Brock
completely
Lesnar.
different. First of all, Finn Balor can't handle a forearm from Jinder Mahal, let alone how's he going to take any suplexes from Brock Lesnar.
I think it was.
He's fragile.
I'm not sure it was the forearm or the way his head hit the mat thereafter.
No, he was knocked out from the forearm. He went forehead first into the mat.
So
Finn Balor is fragile.
So let me ask you this. So when a wrestler takes a stiff move unexpectedly and ends up concussed as a result, that's their fault?
No, I didn't say that was his fault.
You said he can't even take a forearm from Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, he didn't.
He did. He took it.
Oh, but he didn't survive it. And Brock Lesnar works 10 times as stiff as Jinder Mahal.
Yeah, but there's a difference, right? When you go into a match with Brock Lesnar, you know what you're getting. when you go into a match with Jinder Mahal.
Randy Orton didn't.
Well, or did he?
Doesn't matter. You don't expect to get gashed open like that.
Thank you for that comment.
Nobody wants to see Finn.
What about the Demon, Finn Balor?
Doesn't make a difference.
Here's what's incredibly intriguing. Bray Wyatt confronting Finn Balor on Raw this past Monday night. Crazy versus crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
I love it.
That's awesome. Do you honestly think Brock Lesnar is going to sell for Finn Balor?
If there's money in it, that's all Brock Lesnar cares about.
He also, no.
Since he's been back in the last 4 or 5 years, has there been drama like that where he's refused to work with someone?
Did he sell for Dean Ambrose?
Should he have?
Ambrose is bigger than Finn Balor.
Oh, okay, because of the jeans he's wearing. That adds a pound. Yes, you're right. He's bigger than Finn Balor.
Dean Ambrose is at least 215 pounds.
I've stood next to Dean Ambrose. I'm not 215 pounds. Thus, he is not 215 pounds.
You think he's 195?
I can't speculate on his actual weight, but I can tell you on a comparative basis what I don't believe his weight to be.
Okay.
That's my third attempt at that statement regarding the situation.
Well, do a fourth if you want.
No, it's fine. Good Morning America, help me out. Final comment comes to us from a YouTube user by the name of Ryan. I guess it's sort of like Cher or Liberace or
good for Ryan.
Prince or Diddy. This is regarding your favorite superstar, Bailey, David Hero. And his question is this: what don't you get? I ask him that every week. Bailey is deceptively strong and durable as a wrestler. Bailey is deceptively strong and durable as a wrestler. If the Rock Bottom can put away guys like The Undertaker and Kane, a belly-to-belly suplex can put away women like Charlotte and Sasha.
Okay. Yeah, the Rock Bottom was a ridiculous gimmick, but so was Sky Too Hottie's worm. Okay, but
well, your argument against Bailey has been you can't believe a belly-to-belly suplex is going to win a match.
But the Rock Bottom was followed up by the People's Elbow after a spine buster.
Okay. Maybe Bailey has a sequence we haven't noticed yet.
No, she doesn't.
I will say this. I alluded to it on Primetime yesterday, is the 12-year-old girl's dream gimmick is getting a little played to me. Because what else after that?
Well, I was waiting for her and Sasha to make out.
Or have a pillow fight?
Either or.
It felt like the turn was coming from Sasha this past Monday.
I mean, come on. Can there be any more love between those two that isn't a same-sex relationship?
Well, we saw Eric Bischoff on Hall of Fame. Maybe he can come back and bring back some HLA.
Yeah. Yeah. Sasha and Bailey. That would be ratings. Some people like...
They can have a live act in the middle of the ring on Raw.
And you got, like, here's how I look at it. Sasha is like the college senior, and Bailey's like the college freshman, and with the come hither and teaching her a few things.
What did you just do?
What? Really, that's what that's what it reminds me of.
Okay, I'm sure it does, David Hero. Thank you for that comment there, Ryan. Gosh, folks, we want to remind you to check us out on our podcast. We have 3 of them. We have the Feedback Friday podcast. You can take us with you on the go. Listen to us
perverted.
in audio form.
I wasn't even going there with it.
Did you see what your finger did? And what you said while your finger did it?
I said, come hither.
And the Primetime podcast as well, which features the... can you read that? Can you just read that, please? Just because I can't. You're not going to let me do it. Just read it. Just go ahead.
This one here?
Yes, that
Get
one there.
more content from PWR by subscribing to our free podcasts. Get Feedback Friday, Primetime, and the podcast exclusive edition of Primetime Extra, where we bring even more weekly wrestling talk. You can also be a part of our live weekly Raw and monthly pay-per-view call-in reaction shows by subscribing as well. Simply search PWR on the iTunes or Google Play stores to subscribe to our 3 separate podcasts and take PWR with you on the go.
It's my pen, my run sheet. You go throwing my stuff around. Thank you for that live read. What do you mean, really? You are David Hero. And this has been the the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll be with you again next week with all new episodes, but be sure to check out our bonus content, interviews that have not been heard before on PWR programming, and also flashback episodes where we take you back to the wrestling world of 5 years ago this week, whatever the week may be, on our Primetime Podcast, one of the 3 podcasts David just told you about that you can get for free on your podcast subscribing network, whatever it is you choose to use, in addition to iTunes and Stitcher Radio. For that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next week right here on the Pro Wrestling Report.